Shalom Israel. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. And Lord willing, through the Spirit, I name this one Everlasting Contempt. And it's through the video that Elder Brother Kazak from Mississippi that he put up. If just one nuclear bomb dropped. Alright, so I'm going to play a little bit of it, and then we're going to get a commentary on it. Just lock it 1 second. It's on Bluetooth right now. I don't know if this phone froze or what. So lock it.
The real impact of a nuclear explosion. This isn't about silly stacks of TNT or about how bright an explosion is. Nuclear weapons are about you. So we've partnered with the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement to explore what would really happen if a nuclear weapon were detonated in a major city today. Not nuclear war, just one explosion. We begin our story in the middle of downtown in a major city. People are going to work, studying for exams, are lost in their thoughts and daily lives. Right here, a nuclear weapon is detonated and time freezes. The first phase of the explosion happens within less than a second. In a millisecond.
And if I may add, if you look at it too, this is how the day of the Lord coming. The scriptures say the Lord is coming as a thief in the night. As far as the nuclear missiles, as well as chaos in general. Alright? We see protests are happening all across the world. How much more will it come to America? Okay, which the protests lead to what? Mass death, mass casualties. And this is what's going to happen when the nuclear bombs are implemented. Okay? And through the Spirit, the way I see it is, Jacob's trouble for a particular period of time. All right, then Esau's going to try to push his solution through the chip. All right, but it's not going to work. All right, and then nuclear missiles, and then prior to the nuclear missiles, deliverance for the elect. But those that stay here, well, you really just watching your judgment right now. All right.
A ball of plasma hotter than the sun appears and grows in a fireball to more than 2 kilometers across. Within this ball, everyone is just gone. Think of water dripped onto a very hot pan. A sizzle, and then there's nothing. Most buildings, cars, trees, tacky sculptures, and people, all evaporated.
Hey, and that goes into Zechariah 14 and 12. How it says their eyes melting away, while they, their body melting away while they stand upon their feet. That's your judgment. Okay? Going into what? The lesson, the title of this lesson, which is Everlasting Contempt. Going into what? Daniel 12 and 2. How it speaks of some shall wake up to everlasting life. Alright? Those that are asleep shall wake up into everlasting life. And some shall wake up into everlasting contempt. Alright? Basically meaning you're going to have some, that are asleep, meaning that are so-called dead in this world. Literally, they're going to wake up into, into their new bodies in the chariots. Then you're going to have some, that wake up until basically in the flesh, waiting for a nuclear missile to hit their ass because of the wickedness and, the fact that they didn't comply with Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Alright? Because ultimately they were 2/3. As scripture saying, Zechariah 13 and 8. Famous scripture. Alright? 2/3 shall take part in the fire, but the third shall escape the fire. Alright?
First, the flash, an intense tsunami of light, washes over the city in an instant. If you happen to have your head pointed in the direction of the explosion, it renders you blind for a few hours. The heat of this light produces a thermal pulse, so energetic and hot that it just burns everything as far as 13 kilometers from the detonation site. What this means is that everything in an area of 500 square kilometers that is able to burn starts burning. Plastic, wood, fabric, hair, and skin. If you happen to be in reach of the thermal pulse, one moment you're on your way to work, the next moment you're on fire. Now the second phase begins. It happens in a few seconds.
Hey man, it makes me think of 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, where it says, "They have loathed my law shall be in pitiful case." Alright, and when you look up the word pitiful, it basically means to be sorry for. You know? Like when someone is cast down, when a woman is beaten up so badly, she's in pitiful case. That's going to be 2/3. All right, that's stuck here to eat a missile, man. Hey, that's a serious thing. That's why we push you not to take that chip. All right, because here's your judgment if you do. All right, it's not just going to be as this world paints it. Which majority of this world is into philosophies of the devil. All right, so they believe God is all love. All right, but God, the scriptures say God is jealous. All right, the scriptures speak about how great the wrath of the Lord is, man. And if you take that chip, you're now serving another God, which means you're going to meet the Lord's wrath. All right, to have your skin burnt while you are just standing there, walking to work or whatever you're going to be doing in that day, at an instant, which the Lord said they're going to wake up to everlasting contempt. All right, which as I was thinking about this lesson, I was even thinking about the book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 6, where it says that the angels that kept not their first estate, they were kept in these everlasting chains of darkness until the time of the end, or to the time of judgment, roughly paraphrasing. Basically meaning that everlasting, we've been in, really, you think of, since the time of Adam. All right, while people was going off all the way until what now? We've been basically in these chains of darkness, man. All right, made to go off and stuff like that. So everlasting means just a long period of time. And we've been in these chains of darkness forever, man. It seems like, going into what? Eating a missile, that's going to seem like forever. And we all know when you catch hell, man, 30 seconds, or a week, you've been in this truth 2 years, it seems like fucking 5 years, man. So that's how it's going to feel when you're in the flesh tasting of a missile.
People will now first notice that something is wrong, but it's already too late for hundreds of thousands. The flash is followed by the shockwave. The heat and radiation of the fireball create a bubble of superheated and supercompressed air around it that's now expanding explosively, faster than the speed of sound, creating winds stronger than hurricanes and tornadoes. Human infrastructure is no match for its power. Most major buildings within a kilometer of the fireball are just ground up down to their base. Only steel-reinforced concrete is able to partially resist the pressure. In the surrounding parks where retirees feed the ducks, trees blackened and smoldering from the heat a second before snap like toothpicks. If you're outside, you get tossed away like a grain of dust in a tornado. The shock wave weakens as it travels outwards, but still, about 175 square kilometers of houses collapse like they're made of cards, trapping tens of thousands of people who didn't have any time to react. Gas stations explode and fires spread throughout the rubble. A mushroom cloud made from the remains of the fireball, dust and ash rises kilometers into the sky in the next few minutes and casts a dark shadow over the ruined city. This violently pulls in fresh air surrounding the city, destroying more buildings and providing an abundance of oxygen.
And really, it won't even get to that point because, well, it will. All right, but we just looking at a video. If one nuclear missile hits a major city, what if 200 hits a major city? What if 200,000 hits a major city? As the scriptures say, there's going to be 200,000 that's going to hit this major city, otherwise known as America, or Babylon the Great, or Egypt, or Rome. However you want to look at it, this place is looking at destruction. Okay? You know, so it's going to, this destruction that's going to hit this place, you're going to know the fire of the Lord, the fury of the Lord. Just as the destruction that hit the Egyptians, all right, which there are not archaeologists, I don't know what you want to call those people, but basically chariots, soldiers have been found at the bottom of the Red Sea, Pharaoh's chariots, have been found at the bottom of the sea to this day, leaving them a memorial to the destruction of ancient Egypt. All right, which this place is also known as Egypt. And this place is going to be a memorial of what not to be like, okay? Of how not to, of how not to be. All right, first and foremost for you tribes, and also for these other nations, man.
Depends on the city what happens next. If there's enough fuel, fires may turn into a firestorm that burns the rubble, everybody trapped in it, and people trying to flee the devastation. Up to 21 kilometers from the explosion, people just like you rush to their windows to take pictures of the mushroom cloud, unaware that the shockwave is still coming at them, about to shatter their windows and create a blizzard of sharp glass. The third phase begins in the coming hours and days. We're used to the idea that help will come, no matter the disaster. This time is different. A nuclear explosion is like every natural disaster at once. There are hundreds of thousands or millions of people with serious injuries, lacerations, broken bones, serious burns. In the next few minutes and hours, thousands more will die because of these injuries. Countless people are trapped in collapsed buildings like in earthquakes, or blinded by the flash, deaf from the blast wave, and unable to flee through streets impassable with rubble and debris. They're terrified, confused, and don't know what's happened to them or why. Most likely, many hospitals have been leveled along with all the other buildings, and most medical professionals are either dead or injured along with everyone else. The survivors lucky enough to have been in metro tunnels or standing in the right place to be unburned and unhurt won't have truly escaped harm yet. Depending on the type of weapon, where it explodes, and even the weather, an awful black rain can begin, with radioactive ash and dust descending on the city, covering everything and everyone. The invisible, malicious, silent horror of radiation takes its turn. Every breath carries poison to the lungs of the survivors. Over the coming days, the people who receive the highest doses of radiation exposure will die. There will be no help, not for hours or maybe even days. Civilization doesn't operate when there is a total breakdown of infrastructure.
Hey man, seems like hell to me. As you have most people that say the lake of fire, all right, represents the hell that these so-called Christians believe in. So when you go underground and you burn for a period of time, hey man, if you want to call it hell, yeah, really it is hell, man. It's a state of as you look into the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, one definition of hell is an unredeemed man, all right, stuck in a particular bad situation, like Jonah when he was in the belly of the large fish. He called it hell. All right, so you can call that hell, because as we're reading, or as we're listening to, this is only one nuclear missile. So imagine 200 million nuclear missiles. That's truly hell. All right, and they don't stop coming, man. There's multiple nuclear missile warheads in one missile. All right, so it's going to be destruction after destruction. Just as Esau, puts upon this earth, man. Destruction after destruction. You know, one week is, giving homosexual rights. Next week is transgender rights. Next week is pedophilia. Next week you're letting the Edomite off for killing an Israelite. All right, which Edom is a so-called white man. Israel is a so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American. We can go on and on, man. Next week you're planning on shooting nukes at the moon. The next week you're putting fluoride in the water. All right, so the Most High is going to meet you times 200 million missiles for the destruction that you have caused, man. Hey, so with that, let me just finish this off actually.
Structure. Roads are blocked, train tracks warped, runways cluttered with rubble. No water, no electricity, no communication, no stores to replenish supplies from. Help from surrounding cities will have a hard time entering the disaster zone, and even if they can, the radioactive contamination will make it risky to get too close. After a nuclear attack, you're on your own. So, bit by bit, people emerge from the rubble, on foot, contaminated with radioactive fallout, carrying what little they may have left. They are slow, in pain, traumatized, and they all need food, water, and medical treatment fast. And the damage done by a nuclear weapon doesn't end when the fires burn out and the smoke clears. The hospitals in the neighboring cities are under-equipped for a disaster of this scale and overwhelmed with tens or hundreds of thousands of patients with serious injuries. In the weeks, months, and years to come, many of those who survived will succumb to cancers like leukemia. The reason no government wants you to think about all this is because there is no serious humanitarian response possible to a nuclear explosion. There's no way to really help the immediate victims of a nuclear attack. This is not a hurricane, wildfire, or earthquake, or nuclear accident. It is all of these things at once, but what?
Hey, the scriptures say Babylon the Great is fallen, and is becoming the habitation of devils. All right, desert-like animals. All right, that live in the ground, man. That thrive in those type of environments. But other than that, everything else is gonna be wasted, man. Hey, I do construction, and I just be going to work looking at this shit like all this shit's gonna be destroyed. All right.
No nation on earth is prepared to deal with it. The world has changed in the past few years, with world leaders again explicitly and publicly threatening each other with nuclear weapons. Many experts think the danger of a nuclear strike is higher than it has been in decades. Governments tell their citizens that it's good that we have nuclear weapons, but it's bad when anyone else gets them. That it's somehow necessary to threaten others with mass destruction to keep us safe. But does this make you feel safe? It only takes a small group of people with power to go crazy or rogue, a small misstep or a simple misunderstanding to unleash a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Exploding stuff in videos is fun.
Alright, hey, so with that, I'm gonna waffle up a ball. Shalom.